Words are the foundation of knowledge, and they shape the very nature of our thinking. But to access the world of words, one needs to be literate. Education is the tool of growth. It empowers you to reason, to think, and the literate society becomes the pillar of future progress. But there are some for whom this path becomes difficult, even though they have the potential. India has a population of 15 million visually impaired of the 39 million across the world, who have long been unable to access printed documents like books, newspaper, and magazines.
It is a strange situation where such a vast number of people are unable to access knowledge and become a stakeholder in the national progress. There must be a solution, a way by which they can be part of the mainstream. But before thinking about the solution, we need to understand the nature of visual impairment.
Being blind generally refers to a complete lack of functional vision. However, blindness involves varying levels of vision ability, sometimes under varying conditions. Vision is the result of light rays hitting the back of the eye or retina, and then the optic nerve transmitting electrical signals to the brain. Blindness occurs when an inadequate amount of light hits the retina or the information has not been delivered to the brain correctly. The cornea is transparent to allow light to enter the eye and curved to direct it through the pupil behind it. The pupil is actually an opening in the colored disc of the iris. The iris dilates or constricts, adjusting how much light passes through the pupil and onto the lens. Visual impairment, also known as vision impairment or vision loss, is a decreased ability to see to a degree that causes problems not fixable by usual means such as glasses. The most common causes of visual impairment globally in 2010 were refractive error 42%, cataract 33%, glaucoma 2%, age-related macular degeneration 1%, corneal opacification 1%, diabetic retinopathy 1%, trachoma 1%, undetermined 18%. The nervous system must receive and process information about the world outside in order to react, communicate. Nerves relay the signals to the brain, which interprets them as sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Visual impairments have considerable economic costs, both directly due to the cost of treatment and indirectly due to the decreased ability to work. Every day of our lives and for virtually every waking minute, we depend upon our vision.
We cannot imagine the difficulties which the visually impaired people face. It is very easy to comprehend the complex science of vision. But for the visually impaired people, it has no meaning, as their information input is dependent on instincts and available knowledge.
The development of digital technology has made it easier to create tools for the visually impaired, and thanks to the innovative efforts of our scientists, they have developed a device called Divya Nayan, by which they can read texts with ease.
In the visually impaired people, except sight, all other functions are capable of acquiring knowledge. So, the significant question is how to supplement the loss of vision.
One serious issue that affects many visually impaired children is the selection of a reading medium. Braille was and still is the most used form of reading for the visually impaired people. Braille is named after its creator, Louis Braille, a Frenchman who lost his sight as a result of a childhood accident. In 1824, at the age of 15, he developed a code for the French alphabet as an improvement on night writing. Braille is a tactical writing system used by people who are visually impaired. It is traditionally written with embossed paper. Braille users can read computer screens and other electronic supports using refreshable Braille displays. They can write Braille with the original slate and stylus or type it on a Braille writer, such as a portable Braille note taker or computer that prints with Braille.
Braille books, we find it difficult, it's cumbersome, it's heavy, and not many schools are able to get books in Braille. So you're dependent on, organizations that are transcribing print to Braille.
By way of contrast, in 1963, 57% of students knew Braille. This is of serious concern because partially sighted students who do not learn Braille do not reach literacy levels on at par with sighted peers. There are far too many blind or visually impaired children who do not have a reading medium that allows them to keep up in class, handle a flow of information, read long passages without discomfort or fatigue, take their own notes, and read for pleasure. Access to print and digital media is one of the major challenges faced by this community. Use of conventional resources such as Braille and audiobooks limits their information accessibility.
One paragraph of printed material in a book will be one page in Braille. So you can imagine the bulk of the books, plus they have to carry the books to the schools also. Bags become bulky and they have to carry. So side by side, computer training is given to these children.
Imported assistive technologies are very expensive, rupees 50,000 to 2 lakhs, bulky and are available for foreign languages. For a variety of reasons, the teaching of Braille to visual impaired students waned over the past few decades, to the point where in 1998, less than 9.5% of blind students were Braille users. Another issue that affects the education of blind children is the shortage of specialized teachers of the blind. This shortage means that many students do not get enough instruction time with these specialists to develop and master their blindness skills. These challenges require more teamwork among policymakers and educationists for the education of blind or visually impaired child to be a success.
Education is one of the most important factor in making the differently able persons independent.
Before we can imagine to provide all the infrastructure and facilities to the visually impaired, we need to know the seriousness of the situation, which can be judged from the data available of visually impaired people in India.
One look at the visual impairment scenario in India will tell what kind of facilities we need to educate these people. 1.03% of total population, urban 27.61 lakhs, rural 78.73 lakhs, male 57.32 lakhs, female 49.02 lakhs. This data is a clear indicator of the situation as well as the reason behind such a scenario. Prevalence in rural areas and among economically weakest section. Spread far and wide, intervention through small clusters. Due to financial condition, it is often difficult for the families to provide necessary support for development of skills for the visually impaired persons. Takes lot of time for books to be converted to audio format. 90% of the visually impaired are Braille illiterate. Unavailability of Indian regional languages compatible devices. It is quite clear that we need to introspect and think of new strategies which will improve the situation. In view of this, our government has laid down the law regarding the basic requirements needed for the visually impaired by PWD Act 1995. Employment 1% reserved for people with blindness or low vision. Education, right to free books, learning material. Schools to be equipped with vocational training facilities. Non-formal education where necessary. Training of teachers. Development and research for affordable aids and appliances. Special education, rehabilitation and manpower development. There is no doubt that visual impairment enhances the difficulties that arise when visually impaired people try to understand the world around them. As the teaching and learning environment relies heavily on visual cues, things become more complicated if educationalists do not look for possible ways to meet the educational needs for their visually impaired learners. It is estimated that at least 2 lakh children in India have severe visual impairment or blindness, and approximately 15,000 are in the schools for the blind. Although this represents a small percentage of the estimated 5 million blind in India, it is significant in terms of blind years. Statistically, a large percentage of visually impaired persons are unemployed and uneducated in India because they do not have access to higher education. Till now, the visually impaired had to use the tactile touch sense to recognize the world around them. Even now and then, the perennial debate of technology being a bane or boon is won by innovations that literally brighten up the world. Braille being the most established method. Ever since Raymond Kurzweil, the inventor of Kurzweil reading machine, developed a reading machine for the blind in 1974. The dream of visually impaired people for using this machine in a handheld manner had not been fulfilled till today. Due to technical limitations of developing handheld image scanner devices, even these days, such machines use flat bed scanners, where a blind user has to keep a book inverted on the flat bed. Obviously, such machines do not provide a real hand control to the user, particularly to a level finer than a page. With the advancement in technologies, variety of reading machine for blind have been designed which uses either flatbed scanner or camera technology. The working principle lies in the use of 5 technologies. Handheld contact scanning, using optical encoders to sense strip image with precise location to seamlessly form an image. Document layout analysis is a language-independent process which segments the document into ordered pieces of information. Optical character recognition, recognize text from image. Text-to-speech synthesis, language-specific with natural voice quality. Tagging for text-based search. Both manual and automatic tags provides fast search and retrieval on the device and cloud.
Earlier, as we know, Braille is the mainstay for reading and writing for visually impaired children. But technology has taken it a step further, and dependence on technology actually results in having ownership of your knowledge.
Handheld scanner scans documents, letters, photos via an array of line CCD sensor, LEDs, reflecting mirror, lens, motion sensor and a controlling circuitry. Motion sensor connected to a scanner is responsible for formation of the final image. When user sends stop signal, then controlling circuit integrate all collected scan data and forms an image. Although handy scanner technology does not require precise movement to scan the document, but slow and uniform scanning produces a better image quality. The handheld step scanning device, HHSS, is one such example. Developed by the Central Scientific Instrument Organization, CSIO, Chandigarh, under a grant from Ministry of Communication and IT. The HHSS device works like speaking eyes and promises to unlock barricades that the visually impaired and blind are faced with.
It started as a product to be developed by us in a handheld device manner which could scan on a printed document. The motive behind was clearly that blind people are unable to access the printed text, printed books, freely accessed by the other sighted people.
The HHSS is a handheld device with no moving parts, making it very light and easy to handle by the user. The device with an associated step scanning technique is language independent and applies to all scripts, languages written horizontally, including Arabic. The basic principle of the functioning is using multiple image snaps with some overlap. The step scanning technique achieves continuity by detecting and removing the overlap. To form a complete reading system, 2 modules are also used. Optical character recognition (OCR) that converts the printed text. Text-to-speech (TTS) technology that manages the audio output. The OCR cannot read pale, broken or touching characters, stains, marks or any other non-character, shaded or colored backgrounds and variations in font. The accuracy of text recognized by the OCR depends on the following factors: scanner quality, recognition method and algorithm, type of the text font, quality of the original document, type of binding between the characters. It is a personal reading machine for visually impaired, where any printed and digital document can be accessed in the form of speech output based on the principle of the contact scanning. It can analyze a multiple column document and provide seamless reading. User can place the device over the document to be read and manually scan it. The reading device uses language-dependent optical character recognition to convert the image into text, and a text-to-speech converter further converts the text into audio. The device is handheld, standalone, portable, completely wireless, and LOT enabled. It is currently available in Hindi and English, but is further compatible for other Indian and foreign languages.
Thirsty Crow. One
The
hot
text
day.
received after the OCR is converted into speech using the text-to-speech synthesizer (TTS). TTS perform text-to-speech conversion can be divided into three main steps: A. Text pre-processing, B. Text-to-phoneme conversion, that is, creation of linguistic data for correct pronunciation, and C. Phoneme-to-speech conversion. The user can control the overall speed of text input to suit his convenience. The HHSS device not only translates but also magnifies and highlights the words being read, making it a big advantage for those who are partially visually impaired.
The best way to understand the device is to see how it works. Now let us take a look at the operational functions.
Press 1 to connect to Wi-Fi. Press 2 to read from pen drive. Press 3 to change accent. Press 4 to listen to stored files. Press 5 to scan and read. Press 6 to listen to news. Press 7 to avail the help. Press 8 to repeat the options. Press 9 to shut down the device.
Device specifications. Dimensions: 244 × 52 × 44 mm. Weight: 450 grams approximately. Document size or scanning width up to 212 mm. Document type: non-glossy white background. Document scanning direction: top, down, bottom, up, left, right, right, left. Scanning speed manually by the user: 10 to 15 seconds to scan one A4 size printed page. Conversion time: A4, A, image to text, English 18 seconds, Hindi 80 seconds. B, text to speech, English 3 seconds, Hindi 6 seconds. Accuracy 97.5% for English, 85% for Hindi. Battery specifications: 2600 mAh rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Battery backup: active mode 2.5 hours. Battery backup standby mode 4 to 5 hours.
A4 size is the maximum we decided to use for this device. Any document less than that can also be read. If it is put on a wooden table, a table without glass, which is not reflecting, any document less than A4, preferably with a white background, would be able to read.
The operation, once mastered, can make it really easy for any visually impaired person to read books. A few minutes of operational training makes the person ready to use the device. It is equipped with 32 GB internal storage, wireless communication feature, facility to store and organize the scanned or digital documents for later use. USB connectivity is provided to read and store electronic documents. It has inbuilt rechargeable battery which can last up to 3 hours. The successful trials of Divya Nayan have been conducted at various institutes and NGOs, which indicate huge demand for this device. Different working models of Divya Nayan aid the visually impaired. The feedback received from various tests have been incorporated in the device to make it more user-friendly.
So this is just a beginning. Once we enter, our concept and our technology is being used by the users, those who are there, then various forms of Divya Nayan will be developed from this laboratory.
This technology has already been transferred for mass production at CEL Sahibabad.
CEL's original mandate has been to take technologies developed by the National Institutional Laboratory to the market. We have over the period worked with various CSIR labs and DRDO labs, etc. for a number of technologies that we have commercialized. And Divya Nayan is the latest one. It is a very important development which CSIO has made for which will go a long way to help the blind in reading and in the daily life. And we feel we are very well placed in terms of our mandate and our experience to produce this and take it to the market.
At this stage, we need to know the various attributes connected with this device: document storage via cloud. This kind of device can have considerable impact on the user. Accessibility to printed documents on the go. Enhanced employability via better access to learning and resources. Customized document repository. Awareness and readiness of rural blind population.
It should be me who should be able to prove that I am able to do it or not able to do it, rather than someone else thinking it for me that this a visually impaired can and this a visually impaired cannot do.
Knowledge is the instrument of opportunities. It expands the arena of expectations. To give the visually impaired this instrument, by which the world of immense knowledge is at their doorstep, is in itself a revolutionary step. Imagine the number of visually impaired people in the country, and by educating them, we can tap their talents and capabilities to become a working force. They can become income generator and also entrepreneurs. With advancement of technology, this is also being upgraded to be used on mobile phones. CSIO has developed an app which can perform the same functions on mobile.
Every step in technological upgradation opens new doors of hope, and Divya Nayan is indeed bestowing the gift of sight to the sightless and has great promise to light up their world. We have the technology, the will and the desire to develop, and the scientists in India have once again proved that Make in India is possible in all dimensions.